And welcome back to Not Just Football, guys. This is episode 35, and Trevor is so kind to let me do the intro today. Don't know what wild hair he got up his ass, but he's the intro guy. I'm not good at these things. But today, just another mock draft. It's that time of the year.
You forgot to say it was the Mike Tolbert episode.
Oh, yeah, shit. It's the episode 35, the Mike Tolbert episode, or the Christian Okoye episode, or the Kevin Durant episode, but
Nah,
nah, he's a snake,
nah.
so we're going with Mike Tolbert, the GOAT fullback. Um, he was such a fullback. That's all I have to say. But today we are doing another mock draft. It seems like we've done a few of these. I think this is
This
number
is
four.
four, I think.
Yeah, this is the fourth one we're doing,
4.0.
and you know, it's just it's that time of year. This is the time of year that it is. We got to get one more mock draft in before the draft actually starts. Um, and there's been a lot of we should start with the trades that were made the last couple days. So the Chiefs traded for Orlando Brown. They gave up the pick 31, and they also got back in exchange a second round pick and a fourth round pick. And I think they gave up or they gave up a fourth and a fifth. I don't know. There was so much involved. I've said three different variations of the picks to like three different people when they call me to
I
talk
know we
about
got
it.
a second rounder next year. That's really all I know.
No, oh yeah, it is. No, it's this year.
It's 22,
Oh, it's 22. I swore it was 21.
I believe. I'm just going to go to Google and we will get this full trade.
Yeah, but Trevor's looking that up. Teddy Bridgewater was also traded earlier today to the Denver Broncos for a sixth round pick this year, I believe. And I don't really know what to make of that. Like, I guess that's a QB competition in Denver. I think it also eliminates a quarterback at 9 if one of those guys were to fall, which may not be the best thing for Denver. Maybe they should have just, they've built up their team pretty well, especially through free agency. And this year in particular, with re signing Justin Simmons, signing Kyle Fuller, who was cut from the Bears. I think, the top three guys for me, or the top four guys for me in this class, are all better than Drew Lock by by a wide margin, at least in my opinion. Coming out, even like if I were to rank them in order of like, pre-draft process and scouting, I would have ranked all those guys higher than Drew Lock. And I think that all those guys, if they step in to Denver day one, Trevor, Trey, Justin, Zach, if all those guys step into Denver day one, they're going to be better than Drew Lock off the rip. Like, it sucks that, Drew Lock's our guy. This is definitely a Drew Lock podcast, but we're big fans of him. I mean, being a KC boy and all, but like, I mean, it is what it is. If you can get an upgrade, get an upgrade. Teddy's not an upgrade from Drew Lock. Maybe like a little bit, like a hair, he's better, but like just eliminating, I think it eliminates quarterback at 9. I don't know if that's the best thing for Denver, honestly.
Well, yeah, they're definitely not going quarterback now because there's no sense in trying to have three guys that you're trying to push to become a starter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely going to be a competition between those two. And who knows who's going to win that, because Teddy is not really a flair type that's going to come into camp and do something incredible that's going to make you reassess how you already feel about him. But he is going to come in and he's going to do all the little things that you want him to do because he's that veteran that's been around and he's been in some good offenses, been around Sean Payton for a while. But yeah, I'm not really sure why the Broncos did it, but it's just insurance for Drew Lock at the end of the day. But I do have the trade pulled up.
Yeah,
So it
thank
is a
you.
2021 second round pick that the Chiefs
Told
get,
you.
number 58, and then we get a 2022 sixth round pick and Orlando Brown, and we gave up number 31, number 94, number 136, and then a fifth round pick next year.
I think that's great value for Orlando Brown. I've talked to people about it. The idiots at PFF, they were doing like a podcast or whatever. They were like, "This is just another massive blunder by the Chiefs," and they mentioned taking Clyde in the first round and trading for Frank Clark 2 years ago. And I'm sitting here thinking, nobody in the heat of the moment called the Frank Clark trade bad, and then he went out and had 8 sacks in 2019 and had 5 sacks in the playoffs, and they only played 3 playoff games. So he was averaging like a sack and a half, a little under a sack and a half a game, and in the playoffs. And he had game sealing sacks against the Titans and against the Texans. And then in the Super Bowl, he played pretty well. I think he even had I don't know if he had a sack in the Super Bowl. Might have had like a half a sack or one or something like that. But
In the
played
Super
well.
Bowl we won,
Yeah, in the Super Bowl two
he had
years
the
ago.
game-clinching sack.
Yeah, so in every single playoff game. And then this year, he came out, didn't have as much help on the edge, wasn't as healthy. Like a lot of the defensive players didn't perform well individually. So that, I mean, you're not going to perform well as a unit if you don't have good individuals playing well as well. Tyron and L'Jarius were about the only guys I was happy with in terms of their performances. But like, this is not a blunder. Like this is a franchise left tackle at 24 years old who has 2 years of playing experience already, like, and who can play left and right tackle, who he is coming up on a contract year, but like I don't think the Chiefs would mind paying him. I think that after seeing what, Frank has one more bad year, then he's gone. Like there's no way that they keep him around. So then okay, there's the cap for Orlando Brown to sign and be on the team. Like he seems happy to be here. He is excited to be here. I'm sure that they're going to get something hammered out in the ways of a deal, but this is nothing short of a blunder, in my opinion. Like, Clyde at times didn't really make sense as being picked in the first round, but then there were other times where he put up like 120 rushing yards a game and he'd have like 3 all-purpose touchdowns or whatever. Like, he was a top 30 scrimmage yards player in the NFL. He had a decent amount of touchdowns, decent amount of yards per touch. Like, it's not a blunder. Like, it may not be, it may not be like you end up trading for the best left tackle in NFL history, but no tackle at 31 is going to be better than Orlando Brown. And that's the exact same thing that happened when the 2 years ago when the Chiefs traded 29 for Frank Clark. No defensive end at 29 was going to be better than Frank Clark. You know who the defensive end at 29 was? LJ Collier. He's played like 5 snaps in the NFL. He's terrible. He's awful. So like no tackle that you were going to get, and that was the biggest hole, by far the biggest hole in that team was filling that tackle spot. And at that point, at 31, you're sitting there and you're crossing your fingers and toes, and you've got your rabbit tail, and you do all the get lucky shit to hope that like a guy like Tevin Jenkins or Darisaw slides down the board to you. Why would you take that chance when you can go out and get a proven prospect and a proven Pro Bowl caliber tackle for the pick 31, and then you get a second and a loaded, this is a very loaded class at a lot of positions, a very deep class in terms of talent. So you get 2 second-round picks. Those guys could turn out to be first-round production players in terms of what they can give you. So in no means, in my opinion, and this isn't even Chiefs bias. Like I'm trying to think of a team that needs a tackle. Like if the Bengals would have had pick 31 or whatever, and they would have given up 30, like just in a hypothetical world, if they would have given up 31 for Orlando Brown and some more picks, I would have been like, okay, that's amazing. Like, that's great. You are helping your young quarterback. You're getting a guy who's good in the run game and is quick enough to, defend against the best edge rushers in the game in passing situations. Like, it's a win-win all around. Like, they get off of Orlando Brown wanted to play left tackle. They're not moving Ronnie Stanley to right, and he didn't want to play for a team that wasn't going to play him at left tackle. So they get off of a guy before they have to pay him. They get value back, an extra pick in this draft and a couple more, or 3 extra picks in this draft, and then 1 more in the next one. I mean, it's a win-win both ways.
I mean, if anybody messed up, I think it's the Ravens. The Ravens went out and helped their biggest competition, which makes no sense in my opinion. They gave the Chiefs their biggest need, which was left tackle, because the Chiefs dismantled the offensive line and rebuilt it this offseason. Yep. The only piece they were still missing is left tackle. And the Ravens, honestly, I don't even think got the amount of value that they could have got out of Orlando Brown. And I think it was Harbaugh that was being interviewed, and he was talking about how, like, at some point you don't get to pick who you trade a player to. And he was saying that they had more than just the Chiefs offer. And I am a little...
It may have not. He may not have been getting... excuse me. He may not have been getting firsts from those other teams. And the Chiefs might have been the only team that was throwing him a first.
A 31 sometimes more dangerous than an early second round, because you kind of feel like you have to you have to get these guys that are sliding down, and sometimes they're sliding down for a reason. They don't end up being very good. And like early second round, you're sitting there planning on your guys that you are going to be there. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, sometimes it's just a dangerous spot.
31, like people say like those early second round picks are just late firsts. I think it's the other way around. I think like the bottom 4 picks of the first round are just day 2 picks. Like those
Hmm.
are guys that some teams take flat. Like Jordan Love, like probably was going to be a second round quarterback until the Packers snatched him up, as just to ensure that no other team was going to go. Like the Colts at the top of round 2 could have picked him, and that could have been their guy instead of waiting for Jacob Eason later. Like a lot of things like that happen. Like, the Giants traded back up in 2018 to grab DeAndre Baker. Hindsight 2020, not a smart move, but like he wasn't going to be there with their next pick on day 2. Like he just straight up wasn't going to be there. There was a huge run on corners at that point. Like those picks, if you're gonna like reach on a guy, he better be worth it. And I don't like having 2 picks right there. Maybe means they might try and move up into like the higher 20s, like 22, 21, something like that. Maybe combo those picks together, do something. But those can be dangerous, like you said, with the guys falling. But I think Baltimore's a good enough drafting team. Like they drafted Lamar Jackson with the last pick 3 years ago. So they drafted Lamar Jackson, Orlando Brown, and Mark Andrews all in the same draft, and then last year drafted J.K. Dobbins and Patrick Queen. So I think they won't make a huge, colossal, massive mistake with that pick, but I think they'll do well with it. And I mean, they probably weren't getting calls for like high 20s or like low 20s, like 20, 21, 22, or any teens picks for Orlando Brown. I don't think so. That's I think why they just had to settle and get as much value as they could from the Chiefs. They probably gave him the best trade, honestly.
Well, they better have made the Chiefs offer the best thing if they were going to give the Chiefs literally the only thing they really need right now.
Yeah.
But let's jump into this mock. Let's go ahead and get this started. So, Jaguars, number 1 pick, obviously. Everybody in the whole world saying the same thing for this, so we don't really need to spend too much time. Have you seen one single mock that didn't have Trevor Lawrence at 1?
I think like never actually. So
All right, well,
never,
we're not
never
going to be the
seen one.
first, so that puts the Jets on the clock at 2. It's a quarterback spot. So we got
Before
3
we get too
guys.
deep into this, I kind of want to I kind of want to say I do want to do some like different picks. Like I've noticed that a few of our mock drafts have been like kind of the same guys in the same spots. And I know that's like we are acting as the GMs of these teams. We're not trying to predict who's going to go where, but I do want to try and mix it up a little bit just so that it's not too stale. Because come draft night, shit gets crazy. Clelin Ferrell gets drafted at number 4. So I mean, shit like that could happen. Like Asante Samuel could be the first corner drafted. Some crazy shit like that could go down. Like anything could happen. So I don't want to operate under stupidity and be like, oh, blah blah blah. Let's just pick this guy for the shits and giggles. But like, mix it up a little bit, make it a little bit more interesting.
So is that a little hint that you don't want to go with Wilson here?
Yeah, I kind of want to see Fields here. Like, I don't think he's been getting absolutely dragged through the fucking mud by like just brainless media people over the last like 2 months probably, and he's not as bad as those people are like making him out to be. They think he's like the next bust or whatever. Like, I think he's got the second best arm talent in this class. I think he's more mobile than Zach Wilson. He's a better runner than Zach Wilson. He played in that offense. It's like a wide receiver read oriented offense. That doesn't mean he can't hit his progressions. He actually, according to, I can't remember who came up with the stat, but they said that he made it to his second and third read more than any other quarterback in this class. And people were like, oh, he's a first read like monster. Like that's all he throws to. Like his tight window throws are better than Zach Wilson's. His deep ball is better than Zach Wilson's. Like I think Trey Lance is my quarterback too. Zach is my quarterback 4, but I don't think the Jets would be stupid to take Wilson or Fields over Wilson. And I guess I'm pitching Fields over Wilson right now.
I'm okay with taking Justin Fields. Like, he has, for whatever reason, he has had the most up and down draft stock of any of these quarterbacks. Because rewind back to college football playoff semifinal, he goes in and they beat Clemson. Everybody
He threw
starts talking
6
about Justin
touchdowns on
Fields.
Clemson.
Yeah,
6.
everybody starts talking about Justin Fields at number 1 for whatever reason. And then they lose in the national championship, and then all of a sudden the narrative starts 2 or 3 weeks later that Justin Fields is going to slide. And I saw a mock that had him at 30-2.
Yeah, Chris Sims, dumb fucking stupid ass, had him at
Yeah,
32.
it was Chris Sims.
Yeah, Chris Sims a fucking idiot. On God, bro, he's so fucking stupid. I can't stand him. I don't want no where I'm no longer mentioning his name.
Well, I will. Fuck you, Chris Sims. Let's go with Justin Fields. All
Now
right.
3 is
Well,
interesting because I want to
three
talk
is
about
very
this
three is
because
very interesting,
the
and I'm gonna go ahead and grab Mac Jones and throw him out of my first round and
yeah,
anywhere
I'm
near.
not Mac Jones is like people. These Alabama I'm not saying this just because like it's a trend or what. There's literally been like one good Alabama quarterback in NFL history, and his name's Joe Namath, and he's in the Hall of Fame, but he has more career interceptions and touchdowns. Okay? That's a thing. Tua, not really what people expected of him in his first
No
year.
to a slander.
AJ McCarron is a career backup. I don't even know any other Alabama like Blake
Brody
Sims,
Croyle.
Brody Croyle, terrible, worst Chiefs quarterback maybe in history. To start a game for the Chiefs. Who else? Blake Sims never even made it to the NFL. These Alabama quarterbacks struggle in the NFL for a reason. Guys don't get open in the NFL like they get open at Alabama. And not only that, Mac Jones also just like struggles to make the right read at times. Like there's gonna be multiple right reads because like even if the play is designed to go to Jalen Waddle on a wheel, let's say that's the play design. Devonta Smith's getting open on the crosser, and he's just going to stare at Devonta and stare him down and throw it to him. Like Mac Jones I don't think he's a first-round caliber quarterback. I really don't. He's in the same range for me as guys like Kyle Trask and Kellen Mond. Like he's closer to Kellen Mond than he is to Justin Fields and Trey Lance. Like, and that's just my opinion. And the 49ers would massively fuck this up. This is Mitch 2.0 if they take Mac Jones right here because they traded all the way up from what 12? They traded up from 12 to take Mac Jones.
Who
Like you
could
got to
have
be
been
fucking
there
kidding
at
me.
15?
He's going to be there at like 52, dude. Like he's not
I doubt it. With
I
the
know,
narratives
but
that have
like
started, I doubt that he makes it past night one, but
yeah.
somebody's going to take him, and somebody's going to fuck up in taking him.
And like I
When
said,
I was
we're not
originally
we're
going
not going
through,
to fuck up and take him. We're not doing that.
oh no, we're not. When I was originally going through and grading draft prospects, I had Kyle Trask graded higher than Mac Jones.
Yeah, I think that's
Like,
fair.
and I mean that might be a little bit of a stretch, just with the fact that Kyle Trask cannot move around very well at all. But I mean, there's just nothing that's really that good about Mac Jones' game,
Yeah.
and there's no reason to even think about him at number 3. So, um, honestly, I think Lance makes more sense for the Niners than Zach Wilson does if we are going at this point.
I'll operate under the 49ers, you know, with their influence here, with them saying that they've narrowed it down to Mac and Trey. Like, I think that's fair that you've got two guys that you like right there. And I hate one of them, and I absolutely love the other. So I'll go with the other, and the other is Trey Lance, if that's okay with you, fellow GM.
I'm okay with that. Just drafted him.
All right. Now the Falcons at
Falcons
4.
and number 4 is interesting, especially if Zach Wilson is still sitting there. Kyle Pitts, obviously, that's who we took last time. That's still a good pick. That would make their offense really dangerous. Do we like Matt Ryan for longer than this year?
I think it would be a mistake to take a quarterback in the first round just because of the insanely massive cap hit that Matt Ryan is like due. Like they're paying him so much money, and I think he's going to play well enough to where he warrants a starting job, and cutting him is going to be a negative because you're going to have no money in free agency to possibly replace him or even get more pieces to build around whatever young quarterback you draft. Julio is talked about being traded, not him personally, but like he's being talked about as a trade piece, but that wouldn't happen until after like June 2nd or something because of his cap hit. So those two contracts are really fucking the Atlanta Falcons right now. And I don't really know if a tight end is that like Pitts is great, Wilson's great. Those are two positions that it's like, you're going to take Zach Wilson and then he's going to only have, Calvin Ridley to throw to if you do end up trading Julio. And Zach might not even play his first year because of Matt Ryan's contract situation and Atlanta feeling obligated to play him because he's like they're paying him so much money. So I'm going to push for Jamar or Panay just because those are pieces you can build around a guy. like it helps improve the team immediately if you draft either one of those guys. Jamar can be a Julio replacement, or he can just be the best third wide receiver that the NFL has ever seen. And Panay is a guy who can come in and start at any position, any guard or tackle position from day one. I know they took two guys, Lindstrom and McGarry, 2 years ago, but I mean, when a guy like Panay is on the board, I don't think it's smart to pass him up when you get the chance to take him.
I think Panay is probably the right move, just because the uncertainty of getting the right package for a Julio Jones trade, because you can't trade him and not just get absolutely blown away with the return. So if you're drafting Jamar Chase, you're setting up one of the two of either you're going to be stuck with Julio Jones and you're not going to get the deal, and then you're going to have an extremely talented guy as the third pass catching option,
Which is great. That's amazing.
It can be slippery. But Panay is going to make the team better and is going to make everybody around him better in the offense. I don't know if Jamar would have such a huge impact playing behind Julio and Calvin Ridley. He would learn a lot from them.
And that's what I'm saying. That makes him even more dangerous. Like, he's not a crit. Like, his route running doesn't blow me away, and learning from Calvin and Julio would be a great, like CeeDee Lamb right now. People were like, "Oh, you don't need a wide receiver. You've got Gallup," and then he goes out and like arguably outplays Gallup and is learning from Gallup and Amari Cooper. Like, I think that's great. Like, you can never have enough weapons, and if you're spending a pick on Jamar, then that's if Julio is to be dealt, then that's your replacement right there, and that's arguably the best wide receiver in the class that you're taking. So, I mean, it's never too late to re-up on a position. Like, they took Calvin when people were like, you don't need another wide receiver. You got Julio. You got bigger needs. And they took Calvin Ridley, and then he was like a top 10 receiver this year in terms of like yards and touchdowns. So, I mean, and he's been good ever since he stepped foot in the NFL. So, I really like Jamar. I'm okay with Panay, though, if that's what you really want.
Let's do Panay.
Okay.
Looking forward. Because now that leaves the Bengals on the clock. And I think we've done Panay to the Bengals every single mock draft we've done. So this now opens up the fact that we can get Joe Burrow, either Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, his buddy, Jalen Waddle.
I think we go with his buddy.
I think Jamar Chase is probably the right play. They will mesh well together. Obviously, they've played together. And Jamar Chase can kind of be that AJ Green replacement.
Mm-hmm. So, not saying he's going to play like AJ, but like he'll fill the shoes.
Just in his position.
Yes,
just at his position in the offense. Now, that leaves the Dolphins on the clock. And I'm sitting here smiling at Kyle Pitts. No, I disagree.
This is not a slight at Kyle Pitts. Like I said, I wanted to mix it up. Kyle could slide. He honestly could, just because of teams get crazy and they get a wild hair up their ass and they don't draft the best guy on the board. So, I think Kyle Pitts is a top 3 player in this class, top 4 player in this class, in my opinion. Probably like 2, like right behind Trevor.
Right behind me.
Yeah, right behind Trevor Hahn. But I don't know if he's the move at 6. They do run a lot of 2 tight end sets, but do you want your rookie 6th overall pick being the second tight end in the offense?
It's not like he'll have a small role.
No.
And Tua doesn't go deep very often. Is kind of why I think it could work, because he's not really looking to push the ball 20, 30 yards downfield.
And Gesicki literally just had a career year with Tua and Fitz.
He did. And I feel like Pitts could be both an underneath threat and over the middle threat on the outside, like just whatever the hell they need him for. But I also get the fact of all the other bodies that they have around him at receiver and at tight end and how that could be problematic. So are you thinking Devonta again? Because we've got Devonta to Miami a couple times, I feel like.
I'm thinking Slater.
That's an obvious upgrade at a big position of need for the Dolphins.
And that's if they play him at right tackle, which he's played and been elite at, it's to his blind side. And,
correct.
You got Austin Jackson as a front, as your front side protector, as your face side protector for Tua. You can slide Robert Hunt into guard, which I think he's a better guard than he is a tackle in the
You
NFL.
can just slide him off the offensive line if you want to. I hate that dude.
I mean, I think he's good. He's a good guard. He was a good, really, really good guard in college. I think he could be a good guard in the NFL. Tackle was not his fit. But I think Slater is the second best tackle in this class, and I think he's closer to Panay than a lot of people think he is. Think people think it's like Panay and then, a drop off. But like I've seen people who think Slater is better, and I think that there are pieces to his game that make him better than Panay in some areas. And I think getting a guy who's as good as he is to protect who's blindside is important. You can get wide receivers late. You have another first round pick in this draft. You have multiple. I don't know if they have multiple seconds, but they're gonna have another second round pick that you can get a weapon with. So getting a solid, possibly elite offensive lineman at 6 is really, really good for them.
Cool with Slater. I am cool with Slater. Get to us some damn protection.
Please.
All right. That leaves the Lions on the clock. Are they going to draft a tight end in the top 10 again?
Fuck no. They can't.
All right. So are we thinking Waddle or Devonta Smith here? Because I think they probably have to go pass catcher because they don't have people that can catch.
Let's go. I'm gonna go with Zach Wilson. I'm gonna pitch for Zach because Goff is under contract a couple more years, but they're probably gonna be bad next year. You don't have to play Zach right away. I'm not saying he's a project guy, but you're not gonna have to play him right away, because of Goff and like he's a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL. Decent, I'd say. You can use your picks this year to get more weapons. There's going to be a free agency again, so you can go out in free agency and try and sign some more guys. And if you're bad next year, the wide receiver class is looking to be good again, so you could get some more talent at those positions. Like, I know we kind of just went through this whole thing of do the Falcons take a quarterback when they're in a rebuild, blah, 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 whatever. But, I mean, when he has slid so far past where people think he's going to be, I don't see how you don't take him.
I mean, I get taking him. I also don't really get drafting a quarterback after they just kind of invested a lot in Goff. And I guess it's not really that big of an investment, but you still have just so much time of him being there unless you're going to cut him. And
I mean, he only has 2 years on the contract.
This year and next year, or this year and 2 more?
No, this year and next year, I'm pretty sure.
Could you cut him after this year?
I think cutting him next year saves them way more money than it would be if they cut him this year.
Poor Zach Wilson going to Detroit.
I mean,
I'm fine with it.
I think it's a good value pick too. Like,
I mean, just looking at the draft, like if Zach Wilson gets past 7, I feel like it's gonna have to be a trade up for Zach Wilson to be taken. So
why, let another team threaten you with that and just take the best quarterback on the board?
Let's do it. Zach Wilson's fine.
All right. Now 8 is kind of no-brainer. It's Kyle Pitts. Like,
I was about to say, Kyle Pitts makes a lot of sense for the Panthers offense.
I don't think he's fallen past 8 in any of our mock drafts yet. So
well, I already picked him, so he's
I know. Well, I picked him too. Like, I literally said we're going Kyle Pitts, and we did. So now Denver, we talked about earlier, no quarterbacks are on the board we're taking, which makes their decision a hell of a lot easier because all the quarterbacks are gone, the top wide receivers gone, top corners are still on the board.
I'm gonna push for Surtain, you know that, but I know you're going to push for J.C. Horn.
I'm okay with Surtain here. I don't mind it. He's good. I just don't like him as much as JC. Yeah, JC.
You would like.
I'm going to push for JC. Like, this is JC right here. The top 2 offensive line. I think they would have taken if Panay, Slater, or Pitts were all on the board at 10, they would have taken one of them. None of them are on the board, and some people's best corner is off the board. My best corner is still on the board, so I want him. And Mike McCarthy came out and said they want to play a lot more aggressive and they want to play a lot more man. smells a lot like J.C. Horn at 10 to me.
I'm fine with J.C. Horn at 10. Yeah, looking at that 9-10, it was going to be Surtain and Horn, just whichever order you prefer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the buzz around J.C. Horn keeps getting bigger and bigger as we get closer to the draft.
As it should.
I mean, sometimes that doesn't quite plan out how people like, but I mean, it's kind of hard to ignore the noise right now around him.
Mm-hmm.
So that puts the New York Football Giants on the clock at pick 11.
You want to hear who I want to push for?
We've already mocked Waddle to them, haven't we?
Yeah, I want to push for Jalen Phillips, man.
It's a little early, but
I don't think so, man. I think he's edge one. I said it in our episode with the show's episode, last episode with Tucker, that Aziz is my guy, but I don't think he's better than Jalen. I think Jalen's really, really, really fucking good. Like, he's 6'6", 260. He can play a little bit of 3-tech if you want him to, slide him down inside there. They don't really have that guy off the edge. They've got Leonard Williams. They've got Dexter Lawrence. No more Dalvin Tomlinson because he's with the Vikings. They didn't sign him back. They signed Kenny Golladay in free agency. They've got a deep threat in Darius Slayton. They've got Sterling Shepard to operate the slot, and they've got Saquon coming back and Evan Ingram at tight end, who had a good season. I think edge is where they generated a lot of pressure because their coverage was so damn good last year. Like, that secondary played out of its mind. I think if you get a guy who can make the job even easier on the secondary, would make this defense even like a top 3 defense in the NFL next year. Like, I think Jalen's that good. Like, he's so versatile in his pass rushing moves. He can just bowl you over. He can swim, spin, club, do anything you want to him. And he's so good against the run too. A lot of people don't recognize that about his game, but he's really, really good against the run. So I know that there's some playmakers on the board. I know that there's some offensive linemen on the board. I know that there's Micah Parsons on the board. Not really high on Micah personally, but I think Jalen would be crazy in New York. I think he really would. I think New York fans would be mad at this pick, but they'd be getting, like, a Michael Strahan type player. Like, they haven't really had a great edge rusher since Strahan. Hey, man, just listen to me, man. Jalen's got it. And a lot of people are concerned about his medicals.
They signed Kenny Golladay. So I am okay with going with Jalen Phillips because I do agree. I do think he's the best edge in this class. His motor is, I've talked about it on other mock drafts. His motor is really what impresses me. It's a play in, play out thing that he is going to give you his best effort, and you know exactly what to expect from him. And if he develops these pass rushing moves in the NFL, accompanied with his motor, he is going to be a really good player.
He might have like a double-digit sack season as a rookie.
So I'm fine with Phillips. That puts the Eagles on the clock at 12.
Which Alabama receiver are we drafting them? Because that's what it is.
I think Devonta Smith makes more sense for them than Waddle does, just because of the drafting of Jalen Reagor last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to push for Devonta Smith.
I'm fine with Devonta. I'm a little bit higher on Jalen than I am Devonta. But I'm okay with Devonta, Heisman Trophy winner, fluid route runner, really good hands, goes up and gets the football, contested catch, demon, great after the catch too, great in the return game. Size does not bother me one bit. I think his play is going to maintain itself. And if it doesn't, then everybody was wrong about Devonta Smith. So
all right, well, that brings the Chargers on the clock at pick 13. I remember last mock draft we picked Jalen Waddle for them at 13. I thoroughly enjoyed that pick, but we could also switch it up. They wouldn't go linebacker. They went linebacker first round last year. Do they have a hole at tackle?
Left tackle.
Darisaw?
We've mocked him there a few times. I'm totally okay with doing it again, just because he might be the best pure left tackle, just a guy who's never played anything but left tackle, might be the best pure left tackle in this draft. His feet are really good. He's strong. He's got really, really good leverage. I don't think you can go wrong with this pick. Doesn't really have a lot of medicals either. And I mentioned it with Jalen Phillips. A lot of people were like, "Oh, he retired from football before returning to Miami, before transferring to Miami." But it was just a UCLA and it was just a UCLA policy that if you got 2 concussions, you had to like medically retire from football, which was like a crazy thing. And so he's like, okay, I guess I retire. And he and the craziest, this is a nut story. He got into music and like producing and beat making and like writing and stuff like that. And so then Miami was like, oh, we've got a really good school for all that. You should just come here. And so he's like, okay. And so then he went and played in Miami. So his medicals aren't like, he didn't have like a fucking brain bleed or he doesn't have like a heart condition or seizures or anything like that. Like it was just UCLA forced him to medically retire from football because of 2 concussions. I'm telling you, dudes get concussions at a much higher rate than just 2 to make you retire. So his medicals are fine, but that was a total tangent that I just went on right there.
So we got Darisaw here.
Yeah, Darisaw. I already drafted him.
All right,
that's
cool.
my bad.
Vikings at 14. Darisaw would have made a lot of sense, but we just took him. Waddle in Minnesota?
Oh, man. Don't do that to me, bro. Ooh. I really
Waddle in Minnesota makes sense.
Fuck, man.
They don't really have a deep threat.
Danielle Hunter's still there. They signed Dalvin Tomlinson.
Linebackers are back.
Yeah, Kendrickson, Wilson. Fuck. They need a safety. This is too high for a safety, though. Oh, man. Corners are okay. They got Pat Pete, who's going to wear number 7, by the way, which is fucking sick. I love that.
I honestly, a little tangent that I'm going to go on. I'm going to make it less than 30 seconds, though. I don't really like the fact that the NFL is going away from the number rule. I've always really liked that about the NFL. I don't know why. I think it's it looks clean. Like having the position groups numbered, it looks clean. I don't know. That's the end of my tangent. I don't really like it, but
I love it. I want the single digits, man. I want dudes wearing whatever number they want. That's what I want. Man, I'm okay with Waddle here. Thielen is getting older, but his play is not diminishing at all.
Quiddy so get an over the top guy that is going to take the safeties and leave more room for Adam Thielen over the middle.
Cool with that.
Beautiful.
Love that.
All right, the fucking Patriots on the clock at 15.
We've done Waddle here. I think we've done Parsons here.
Yeah, we did Parsons last time.
Yeah.
Let's give Mac Jones because we hate the Patriots.
No, I'm not. I can't do that. We're acting as the Patriots, dude.
I know. I still hate them.
Yeah.
I still hate them.
I hate myself. Quiddy could be an option here.
I was just about to say Quiddy's name.
They love their Michigan defensive ends. They already have 2 on roster right now.
Is Winovich still there?
Yeah, Winovich and Uche. And Quiddy's definitely better than both of them. He could slide in and play some nasty 3 tech. I like Quiddy, man. Oh, whoa. Elijah Vera Tucker is still on the board, and they did lose Joe Tooney, but this isn't a team that really drafts offensive linemen very high. I honestly think that... Oh... Is this too early for Bateman?
I don't know. I really like Bateman.
Let's go Bateman then. Let's get like a certified number 1 separating wide receiver for Cam Newton, because the guys that they signed don't do that shit. Kendrick Bourne can't separate. He's just really tough, contested catch wide receiver over the middle. Nelson Aguilar is a deep threat. They got 2 tight ends, but who fucking cares? Get Rashad Bateman. This is the second wide receiver in 3 years that they've taken the first round. This Bateman's way better than N'Keal Harry, even though I love N'Keal Harry at Arizona State. But yeah, I really like that for them.
All right, that leaves the Cardinals on the clock at 16.
I think we did AVT here last time. I think we did Elijah Vera Tucker here last time because of the protecting Kyler thing.
They could do edge as well. They could go Quiddy.
Yeah.
They're
And
not
Quiddy
gonna.
doesn't have to be an edge from day one either. He could be like a not rotational, but like he could be a three tech. JJ could play three tech, five tech. Quiddy could play seven, or edge. Oh, or did we go Tevin Jenkins here last time?
I know AVT and Tevin Jenkins were the next two picks, and
Yeah.
I think it was Tevin Jenkins.
Yeah, it was Tevin at 16. And I still kind of like that idea, honestly. I'm okay with doing repetitive picks. I just wanted to make it a little bit more interesting. Tevin's a demon, and they need a right tackle right now. Because I think Marcus Gilbert just retired from football. And they don't have one on roster. So I'm okay with Tevin unless you want to throw somebody else's name in the mix.
I'm fine with Tevin.
Alrighty.
Okie State guy.
Big Tev. All guy first
So
team member right there.
So the Las Vegas Raiders are now on the clock. Can we give them Mac Jones?
Yeah. I'm gonna leave the space of being acting as the GMs, and I'm gonna let Mike Mayock and John Gruden take this one over. Actually, I don't think they draft Micah Parsons because of all the off the field shit, and they like big character championship caliber guys. Um, let's give. They
The
could
Raiders worrying about character. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a new management system, man. Um, man.
I wouldn't mind Micah Parsons
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
because
They
he's starting to slide a little bit. We're letting him slide.
Yeah, that and he's such a Raiders pick, just like big, fast, tall guy, and they pick one of those at least every year in the first round.
He's kind of like the Jonathan Abram, but a linebacker version.
Yeah, except Jonathan Abram didn't have like sexual harassment and fucking like doing suspect shit to players in the locker room come out about him. He's just a dickhead on the field and he's annoying, so people don't like him. But yeah, I'm okay with Mike at 17. Very Raiders player, I would say. Very, very Raiders player.
Well, that leaves the Dolphins on the clock for a second time. This would have been nice if they could have snagged Bateman with the second pick. Because we went Rashawn Slater first pick for them.
Mm-hmm.
So weapon is still kind of a need.
I don't
Best
think
receiver on the boards, Eli Moore.
Not a fan of that at 18.
I'm not a fan of Eli Moore at 18 either. So I'm thinking weapon might have to wait until second round for the Dolphins, which is going to piss off their fans, but who cares?
Mm-hmm. Do what direction? I just had a player that I wanted to talk about and I forgot him. Do you think ETN is the move here?
I mean, you know I really like ETN.
Yeah. Because they could still use like Quiddy is a guy that could play for them. It may not be right away. It may not be week one, but he's a guy who can play eventually for them. Because I think Ogba or Shaq Lawson's contracts are coming off the books after this
This is
season.
Ogba's last year.
Yeah, so get a guy who's better than Ogba to replace. And you could slide either one of them into like a 4-tech, 5-tech type situation because their interior defensive line's pretty good right now. I don't really think corner is a need for them. Like they would need a slot guy, but no slot guy is worth the 18th pick for me. Or do they want a true edge and a guy like Aziz? Do they want like just a true like pure beating up tackles every week guy in Aziz?
I'm
I think
fine
it's
with either. I'm trying
I
to
think
think
it's
what fits for both of them.
Yeah. Let's think of ETN or Aziz. I think is where it comes down to for me because need it running back. Like I know that it's not a really like valuable position or a position that's
Didn't they sign a running back?
I don't remember. I really don't know. But I know that they still have Gaskin and Savan Ahmed. on the roster. I don't think they signed a running back. I know they let Matt Breida go. I think they cut him.
Malcolm Brown.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
a zero
that.
move.
Yeah, that's not a changer. I'm fine with ETN.
Okay.
I'm fine with ETN. Let's do it.
Football team
So,
at 19.
yeah, the Washington nameless football team now on the clock at 19. I mean,
We had a Owusu Koromoa here last time.
ooh, that was a good fit. They definitely don't need anything on the D line.
Vera Tucker
Linebacker.
makes it interesting between him and Owusu Koromoa because they do need they do need help along the offensive line. So they didn't really sign a lot of guys to help fix those holes.
Let's do AVT then.
Okay.
Switch it up just a little bit, even though I like Joke a lot.
Yeah, especially cheese in that fit.
Bears at 20.
Mac Jones.
This is these last two picks were the only times I would have been okay with.
We haven't thrown him in a first round.
We did with Jordan and
Tucker, yeah. I'm okay with doing him at 20 again, especially after releasing Mitch Trubisky, keeping Nick Foles on roster, and signing Andy Dalton. Just get the three-headed monster of Andy, Mac, and Nick, dude. Just freaking oh my God, that'd be so
That would
funny.
probably be the most boring QB room in the fucking league.
I think Andy Dalton actually has like a good personality. Nick Foles
I
is
don't know, man. Have you seen him pump up a team before a game?
yeah. Actually,
Come on, guys, let's go out there and get it done today.
Mac Jones might actually have the best personality, and it comes from his like 2 DUIs or whatever. So,
It comes from the fact he has a beer belly.
yeah, let's go, Mac Jones. That's such like I don't like that pick, but I think it's funny just to make fun of the Bears. So we'll give them Mac Jones.
So now that leaves the Colts on the clock. Aziz makes some sense.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Houston's getting older. I think he's still there, as far as I know.
Yes,
Haven't
yeah,
heard
he's still
different.
there.
Linebackers, not a big need.
Greg Newsome's on the board.
Corner could work. Didn't Xavier Rhodes have a decent year for them last year, though?
Yeah, he had like a resurgent year. Like he was terrible the year before in Minnesota,
With the
and
Vikings,
yeah, he started off the year really, really good for them. But his play kind of tapered off, and that kind of is attributed to his age a little bit and just his he lost his step a little bit. Um, I like Aziz there.
Let's go Aziz then.
Two Georgia pass rushers there, Houston and Aziz.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot Houston went to Georgia. Titans on the clock at 22.
I'm gonna go for a pitch for Greg Newsome because
I'm fine with that.
they still have edge players on the roster. The interior of the defensive line is not good for them, but no defensive tackle in this class is worth drafting at 22. So don't take one. I think Greg Newsome could be a really, really good boundary corner for them. They cut Malcolm Brown and not Malcolm Brown, Malcolm Butler and Adoree Jackson. So they have zero corners on roster besides like Christian Fulton. So Greg Newsome's a really good corner, a lot of really good in man, really good in cover three, quick hips. His reaction and makeup speed, his reaction time and makeup speed is really, really good for like coming back on cuts and stuff like that the receivers make. So I'm a really big fan of his game, so I like him at 22 there.
Cool with me. Get them corners. Jets on the clock at 23. Who's this pick from?
Seattle.
Mm. Well, what need do we want to fill with the Jets? We already got them Justin Fields.
And that's it.
Yeah. Well, this is their second pick.
Edge, I think, is still a need. Interior defensive line is okay, especially with Quinnen being there and how amazing he played last year.
I'm fine with Quiddy.
Oh, wow. I'm trying to just like scroll through the guys on the board and then see who can make it in there. Dude, I'm using mock draft database. They have plummeted Nick Bolton down their big board rankings.
Really? I'm
Yeah,
on the draft network.
he used to be in like the 20s and 30s, and now he's like all the way down at 50.
He's at 57 on this one.
Yikes. I'm okay with Quiddy. I don't know if he's like a day one, like, and Salah kind of runs that 4-3. So I don't know if Quiddy fits very well. He reminds me a lot of Eric Armstead and how he was. Ooh, that makes it even better. Never mind. Forget what I said. Go with Quiddy. Go with Quiddy. That's what we're
Already
doing.
drafted him.
Because I was just thinking, like, he reminds me a lot of Eric Armstead in San Francisco. Like, people didn't really know where he was going to be used, and people thought he was going to be an end or a D tackle. And then I'm like, but Salah got the most out of that guy, and he's good. Like, one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL. If he can do the same shit with Quiddy, then that is dangerous for the rest of the NFL. Like, because Quiddy's a demon, and him falling all the way to 23 is kind of crazy, honestly.
Yeah, that's definitely the lowest we've drafted him.
Mm-hmm.
Steelers on the clock at 24. Damn, I would have liked to give them Mac Jones too.
Mm. Oh man.
Najee makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, they're kind of
Not too
depleted on the
much.
offensive line though. No Villanueva, no Pouncey. I'm gonna push for Cosme at left tackle for them.
Where did Cosme fall to on this?
This is also I have a complaint
Oh,
with
never
people
mind.
just like randomly pushing people down the board and stuff like that. Like I don't really know. I don't really know about that. But Cosme at 30 at he's 33rd ranked player on mock draft database. Getting him at 24, he's like a good tackle in this class. Like there's a lot of tackles in this class, and I don't think like any of them are like terrible. Like we saw last year, everybody was like, "Oh, this is the best tackle class we've seen in a while." Like Andrew Thomas played good for the back half, like really good for the back half of the season. Jedrick Wills and Tristan Wirfs, like Tristan Wirfs was a fucking All Pro, or played at an All Pro level, and Jedrick Wills was really good for Cleveland, for a good portion of that season before he started biting the injury bug. But like Cosme's good, he's big, strong, athletic. He's got some feet refinement that I think he needs to work on, but he's got everything you want in a tackle, and they've got a lot of holes on that offensive line. So I think he could step in and play left tackle for them right away because there's not much that really needs to be messed with on their offense in terms of like receivers and tight ends are pretty straightforward, like Juju Clay, James Johnson, Deontay Johnson, or James Washington and Deontay Johnson, and Eric Ebron. Running back could be something that they address. I think that there are guys later in this class that would be better for them than taking Najee at 24.
Well, I'm down for Cosme.
Sweet.
Down for Cosme. So the Jaguars are now once again on the clock at pick 25. They drafted Trevor Lawrence, number 1, about 8 months ago when they solidified that they were the worst.
When they got the number 1 pick.
So let's see.
Not running back.
Morig?
We've done him there a lot. Kind of tired of it, honestly.
Well, let's not do that then.
Don't
want to make you sleepy.
Let's keep the Florida boy in Florida. Let's go with Tony. I like Tony here.
Ooh, okay.
He's a good slot option. That they didn't bring back D.D. Westbrook. I don't like Keelan Cole or Chris Conley for that offense. They drafted Laviska Shenault last year, who's a good not contested catch, but like he's a strong physical wide receiver who's good after the catch. You got DJ Chark, who's a burner down the field. Kadarius Toney can operate the slot really well and burn down the field. I really like that for them. And you get a good weapon for Trevor Lawrence to pair with the weapons that he's already got. And they brought back a good portion of that offensive line. Like they franchise tag Cam Robinson. They've got Norwell and Linder still there. They've got a couple other Jawan Taylor's still there. It's a decent group of offensive linemen. So I like building the weapons around Trevor Lawrence personally.
I'm definitely okay with Tony. Big play guy there. Browns on the clock at 26.
Joke.
I keep forgetting that he's still here. Yeah, no, let's do that. Yeah, let's do that.
Him and Mac Wilson are going to be so fun to. If this happens, it's going to be so fun to watch. And they signed Clowney, and they've got good defensive tackle guys, so he can run in space and make plays and cover like a motherfucker. So I love Joke's game. It's very unique. It's not like any other linebacker I've ever watched before.
He shoots out of a cannon.
It's insane, his burst.
And yeah, no, he would be a lot of fun to watch with Mac Wilson. If Mac Wilson doesn't turn around Mahomes' head again next year.
Yeah.
Still mad at him for that. Ravens on the clock at 27. They also have a pick at 31. So
I want to do it. I want them to go Merrick so bad because they have nothing at safety. Deshaun Elliott played decent, but not great. Earl Thomas isn't there. Chuck Clark was more of a box guy for them. Merrick allows them to keep that like press man physical, send the house defense going because he's so good in man coverage. I really think that he would help them out a lot in that department.
I mean, getting a guy that can cover the top of a defense so you don't get burned with 70-yard touchdown after 70-yard touchdown when you play the Chiefs is definitely not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's not a bad move.
That's been their biggest downfall against the Chiefs is they've just been giving up big play after big play after big play. And it's because their safeties suck. So I'm fine with that. Saints at 28.
I think this is like Farley's spot. I think he's fallen far enough. It depends on how much a team is concerned about his medicals and what type of threat that poses to his future in the NFL. But New Orleans has been a team that's known to not really care about that all that much and to just kind of take guys because of how good they are. And Farley's that good. Like he's my third corner in this class. Maybe even fourth. I don't really know. But I think he's a guy that can come in from day one. I think he'll be healthy enough by the start of the season. He's definitely explosive and athletic enough to cover guys good on the boundary. The only corner they have on roster right now pretty much is Marshawn Lattimore. So that's something that they need to address. And I think they should go and do it with 28 with Farley.
I'm cool with that.
The other guy I was going to pitch you were not going to fucking buy it, and I was going to have to settle for whoever you wanted.
Were you going to do Asante Samuel again?
No, I was going to do Kelvin Joseph from Kentucky. Man, he's a dog. Shut up.
I probably wasn't going to buy it.
Yeah, you weren't going to buy it. You weren't going to buy it.
All right, Packers at 29. I feel like we have to stay on the trend of drafting them a wide receiver. I don't care.
I guess
we can get him a linebacker too. Honestly,
I'm not drafting Nick Bolton or Zaven Collins.
You don't like Zaven Collins either? What about Davis?
I liked it. That's what I was thinking. I was waiting for you to say him.
What about Davis?
Jamin Davis is really good. Like, he doesn't deal with linemen the best, but he's got a real finesse, smooth way of getting around blockers and making the tackle. Like, I talked about it with Tucker. Reminds me a lot of Zach Cunningham, who just led the NFL in tackles with like 50,000 last year. So I think
that's a lot.
Yeah, he had 50,000 of them. He had like 156 or like 162 or something, which is insane. So they both know how to get to the ball.
To end up with 50,000?
Yeah, he made every tackle. Like he would just wave off every other player. Yeah, every tackle of every game. But yeah, he reminds me a lot of Zach Cunningham. Zach Cunningham was like an early round 2 guy for the Texans. They need some help in the middle of that defense. Blake Martinez isn't there. They fired Mike Pettin, who it was a terrible defensive coordinator. So
Pretty sure Kirksey's gone too.
thank you. So I think Davis is a good pick here,
I'm down. I'm
especially with
down.
how Alan Lazard has blossomed into a really solid, reliable number two.
Alan Lazard's pretty solid. Yeah, I'm a big fan of him, and they just need one more. They need one more guy to step up and be a pass catcher for them, but that also might be addressed later in the draft or outside the draft. Who knows?
I mean, they had a
So,
lot of guys step up. Like MVS had a good year. Tanyan had a fucking career year. Should have been a Pro Bowler, but Evan Ingram's ass got in there over him. So they had a lot of guys step up. I mean, it was the best offense in the NFL. So you can't like everybody played well. So
I wouldn't say MVS did, but that's
yeah,
just me.
everybody has their games.
Bills on the clock at pick number 30.
Najee, I'm just playing.
They draft another fucking running back they won't play.
They're gonna draft another one this year who's gonna be just the same type of player that Devin Singletary and Zach Moss are, and then there's gonna be another argument about who's the best running back.
Oh, I mean the answer is Devin Singletary, but what area are we looking at?
What area for the Bills? I think edge. I think a second wide receiver wouldn't be terrible, especially since they lost John Brown to the Raiders.
They did get a Emmanuel Sanders though.
Whoop-dee. Like fucking what? Okay, that's fine.
Osai has fallen way.
Yeah, I don't know what it
55.
is. Like, dude, he's at 42 on this one. He used to be in like the 20s, but like people just, man, that's my thing. Like, I don't really know. Like, if you're high on a guy, you're high on a guy. Like, I think he's a top 30 player to me. Like, I think he's better than Rondale Moore. I think he's better than Terrace Marshall. I think he's probably higher than Jason Oweh for me, who's 31 on these people's board.
I think Osai is the next edge I have. Like,
yeah.
So I wouldn't be opposed with going with Osai, a physical specimen of a human being.
Yeah. I'm cool. I like Osai. He played in a 4-3 at Texas. He's used to having his hand in the dirt. He's athletic. He's quick, big motor on him. He's got a good mix of pass rush moves. Not a great counter pass rusher. And people are knocking him a lot for the game against Oklahoma State because Tevin Jenkins just put him in the dirt like multiple times in that game. But I think that's just a testament to how fucking good Tevin Jenkins is. That doesn't mean that Osai is a bad player. That means that Tevin Jenkins is a fucking demon. Like, it means he's just a great tackle.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure why he's sliding the way he is in mock drafts and in people's just big boards. So I don't know. He murders quarterbacks. He hits with a passion, and I really like that. So I already took him.
Yeah, me too.
Cool. Ravens at 31.
I'm gonna make you mad. I'm gonna push for a guy that you probably don't know who he is.
All right, push.
I want to go with Peyton Turner out of Houston here, the edge. He is one of the more if you haven't watched his tape yet, Trevor, I'm assuming you haven't, or anybody else listening to this podcast.
I have not.
Peyton Turner is insane. He's a better version of Greg Rousseau. Like, people are like, "Oh, Greg Rousseau, like he's big, he's fast, he's tall, he's athletic, he's strong." Peyton Turner is all of that with good leverage, good dip, good he is just Joseph Osai, and not Joseph Osai. He's Gregory Rousseau if Gregory Rousseau cared about putting a pass rush move together. Like, Peyton Turner can combo, he can counter, he's got really, really, really long arms. He was good at the Senior Bowl, he was good his entire career at Houston, and he's good against the run. Like, he's not the best, he gets pushed around a little bit, but not enough to make it a huge concern for me. I think this is one of those guys that sneaks up into the first round that a lot of people didn't see going there. And Baltimore, a team that lost some really, really big edge help. They lost out on getting Jadeveon Clowney because he went to the Browns. They lost out on Judon. They still have Jalen Ferguson there, but I don't know how much I like him. They lost Yannick Ngakoue to the Raiders. They really don't have anything at edge right now. So I think Peyton Turner is a surprise first rounder. I think is something that could actually happen, like in real life. it may be sooner than this. They may take him at 27. Buffalo could take him instead of Osai at 30. But I think this is a guy that can sneak into the first round, honestly.
So, do you like him more than the other edges on the board right now?
Um,
Olay,
yes,
Rousseau,
yes,
Basham.
yes. I
All
like him
right.
better than all those guys.
All
I
right.
really do. Like he's a very, very, very fun watch on tape. Like,
Well, I just picked him without knowing a damn thing about him.
no, well, all you got to do is trust me, man. That's that. Like, all you got to do is trust me.
I'll let you have a few.
Hey, man, let me have it, man.
So now we got the Bucks at 32. We're not doing Barmore this time, even though that still makes sense.
Yeah.
Receivers really off the board. They just re-signed Antonio Brown. Najee Harris?
No, I'm not doing that. I think
Corner's really not a need.
Yeah, we've gone Barmore and Owe here, like literally every time. So let's go. I think Jalen Mayfield wouldn't be a bad pick here, just because Donovan Smith isn't good. Or actually, no, he could play left. I think Jalen could play left tackle. Um, actually, kind of want to go Creed Humphrey.
Creed Humphrey makes some sense.
Because they've got somewhat of a hole at their right guard spot. So I think Creed could come in and he could play right guard. And then depending on what happens with Ryan Jensen's contract situation, he could play center in the future for them. Or they could go out and get a guy like Richie Grant or Javon Holland to pair with Antoine Winfield on the back of that defense because they didn't really have a great safety two last year. Like Jordan Whitehead played okay, but he wasn't great. I think Javon Holland or Richie Grant, like Richie Grant to me is a guy who you can stick him in the like a single high safety role and he can just ball out. Like he could get like 4 picks and be really good. Javon Holland's a guy who can cover tight ends, he can cover running backs, he can play in the 1 and 2 high. So I'm gonna push for Richie Grant or Javon Holland. I'm honestly okay with whichever one you want to go.
I like Javon Holland more.
Okay.
At least in my opinion. So yeah,
I'm okay.
fine.
I'm okay with either of them. I like Javon.
Well, I just drafted Holland.
Oh.
Finalizing your draft. One moment. All right. So to recap, mock draft. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think this is the 5th since you did one last week.
No, we didn't do one last week. We did all guy first team.
Oh, okay. Never mind. So this is mock draft 4.0.
4.0. Last one.
Number 1, as always, Trevor Lawrence to the Jaguars. No brainer. Need nothing to say about that. We went with Justin Fields to the Jets, getting them their new franchise quarterback, or at least an attempt at it. The Niners go with Trey Lance. I think this is the best scheme fit if it comes down to Trey Lance or Zach Wilson.
We're not taking Mac Jones. If Mac Jones goes 3, I'll cut my dick off. Not actually doing that because it probably will happen, actually. So I'm not going to bet that.
You better cut that one out then. I hope they go with him tomorrow.
I'm leaving it in there. Who cares?
Penei Sewell at number 4 for the Falcons, getting Matt Ryan some protection since he sacks himself most of the time. At 5, we went with Jabar Chase to the Bengals, reuniting the pair that won a national championship in Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. At 6, we went with Rashawn Slater to the Dolphins to get somebody to hopefully protect Tua, to maybe even give him a chance to throw the ball downfield, even though he doesn't want to. Number 7, Zach Wilson to the Lions. This is kind of weird.
Yes, very weird.
This is kind of with the thought that Jared Goff does not pan out and he gets shipped out of there. Mm-hmm. Zach Wilson gets to sit for a little bit, learns from Jared Goff.
I actually don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, no, I think Jared Goff would learn from Zach Wilson.
Yeah. How do you be a good quarterback, Zach? Tell me your secrets. How are you a good quarterback?
Yeah, so you're saying you don't hit the crossing route every time?
Oh.
Anyways, Kyle Pitts to Carolina at 8. I think this is one of my favorite fits in the draft this time around. At 9 and 10, Surtain to the Broncos, J.C. Horn to the Cowboys. There go the top two corners in the draft at the tail end of the top 10. The New York Football Giants at number 11, Jalen Phillips. Our edge number 1, highest motor edge in this class. He's going to be a freak, I hope. It'll make us look smart. Number 12, Devonta Smith to the Eagles. They're just going to keep adding receivers.
Another wide receiver. Here we go.
They're just going to keep adding receivers every single year until one of them sticks. So
most teams usually draft a wide receiver a year. Like, just as it could be a guy in the 5th round, but like most teams like draft a wide receiver just to see, hey, is it going to work out? Is he going to be a guy? It just so happens that the Eagles keep doing it with their 1st and 2nd round picks every year and not their 4th and 5th round picks. So, yeah.
At least this time they're getting a Heisman winner. So
yeah,
and not Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson.
Wow.
That was bad.
That's still one of the funniest clips. Have you seen that of the Vikings war room or whatever? When they
no.
It was Zimmer and it was the GM and then like one other guy, and they were all, it was my washing machine. But they were all in a Zoom call and they were like, hey, get ready, we're probably gonna take if they take Jefferson, we're gonna take one of the corners. But if Jefferson doesn't get taken, we're taking him with the next pick. And then they're all smiling and laughing at the Eagles. And they're like, I can't believe they did that when they took Jalen Reagor. And Justin Jefferson just falls right into their lap.
If you have to explain a pick to somebody as, they must be really high on Jalen Reagor if they drafted him over Justin Jefferson.
And most of the times you're not really like explaining it. It's like a question. It's like, they must be pretty high on Jalen Reagor. Like,
if that's your reasoning for justifying a pick, you're
not
probably
a good pick.
Fucking wrong.
Not a good pick.
You're probably wrong. Anyways,
not at all.
Christian Darrisaw to the Chargers at 13, getting Justin Herbert some protection. Darrisaw is a freak. He will be able to step in and play day one, and he should be successful day one. And, I mean, this is right around where Tristan Wirfs went last draft. And
he went 12, I think.
So, yeah, 12 or 13 or 14, somewhere in there. And he ended up as the most productive tackle in the class last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that could play out really well for them. Jalen Waddle to the Vikings at 14. An offense of Thielen, Jefferson, and Waddle. Holy shit.
Dalvin Cook and Irv Smith, too. I mean,
holy shit.
They're only going to score 15 points a game, though.
Too bad they got Kirk fucking Cousins.
Damn it.
Yeah, no, that sucks. 15, Rashad Bateman to the Patriots. Some people might see this as a little bit of a reach, but that's probably because they haven't watched any Minnesota football games the last 2 years. Because Bateman is a stud. Underneath demon at getting open, getting the ball, and just running away from people, making people miss. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch in the NFL. He reminds me a lot of Justin Jefferson, but anyways. Tevin Jenkins to the Cardinals at 16. We've talked a lot about Tevin Jenkins in this episode on how he can just take an edge out of a game.
Mm-hmm.
And God damn it, do the Cardinals need a left tackle.
They need somebody
can actually shut down somebody. So maybe Kyler Murray won't be running around 40 yards before he throws the ball every play this year. Who knows? 17, the Las Vegas Raiders took Micah Parsons. This fits the Raiders just so well with the athleticism that he has and just what word am I looking for? He's a guy that you're going to see on paper. You're going to see his height. You're going to see his weight. You're going to see all of his combine numbers, and you're going to say, holy shit, how is this guy not a top 10 pick? Yeah. Well, it's because his IQ is lacking just a lot sometimes.
Yeah, just a lot.
But, I mean, let him figure out the NFL game.
Yeah.
And I think he'll be a really good player. Like, he is so athletic and so quick at getting to where he needs to be to make the play.
Mm-hmm.
And
at the NFL, it's definitely a lot more about recognition than it is about, like, the speed to get to the play. Like, we've seen some slow-ass linebacker. Like, dude, Zach Thomas, who was literally, like, 5'10", 230 pounds, was, like, leading the NFL in tackles when he was in his prime. Like, The man was a fucking midget out there compared to everybody else, and he was just making tackles over and over again.
Little person.
Yeah, sorry, little person. Not saying Micah
Thank you.
Parsons is that, but he'll make plays. He will be a playmaker. It will just be inconsistent, and I think it will be sparing when he makes those plays because of how much recognition it takes in the NFL to diagnose a play and to get to the ball.
I might take a little bit for him to pick up on all the things that he
Yeah.
does. And what's their linebacker situation looking like?
It's like Nicholas Morrow, Nick Kwiatkowski, and that's it. Corey Littleton.
Please start him over Kwiatkowski. Jesus.
No, only start him on every game except the Chiefs. Every game except the Chiefs games.
Yeah, no, against the fastest team they'll play. Good
Yeah,
idea.
under that.
18, Travis Etienne to the Dolphins. This is probably a little bit earlier than we will see Etienne go, or any running back for that matter. It's just going to come down to him or Najee. But, I mean, it makes a lot of sense for the Dolphins to go get a just home run hitter of a running back. Because
A legit run. Not saying that Myles Gaskin and Savon Ahmed and Jordan Howard and Malcolm Brown aren't legit running backs. They play in the NFL. They're good enough to be NFL caliber running backs, but like ETN's better than all of them. And they struggled to run the ball last year. They got a lot of production out of their running backs out of the backfield. I think with picking up Slater with your first pick and then picking up ETN with your second, I mean, that helps your running game and your passing game right there with 2 picks.
And, I mean, ETN is a threat to take it to the house whenever.
Whenever.
He showed it in college all 4 years because he is the rare running back that stayed 4 years and dominated 4 years.
And never really like had a big injury or like anything like that.
And it's not like he can't lower the shoulder and lay the boom either.
Yeah, he's very good.
People. He
Yeah.
ran through people.
RB1.
Yeah, I mean, he's really good out of the backfield catching passes. Miami showed last year they love to do that. It's just the threat of breaking through the line of scrimmage and not only getting 5 yards. Because if ETN breaks through the line of scrimmage untouched, he's not getting 5 yards. He's getting 15, 20. Big time. Big time for the Dolphins. Washington at 19, we gave them Elijah Vera Tucker. He's most likely going to be in the interior of an offensive line, could play tackle.
I think if anything, he'd play right tackle. But I feel more confident with him at guard.
Yes, I agree. And at number 20, we gave the Bears Mac Jones.
This is a meme pick. This is the only like not legit pick of the entire mock draft. This is more meme based for me than it was like actually picking. If I was the Bears, wouldn't have picked them, but I was just wanted to put Mac in the first round one last time because I mean, as sad as it is, we're probably going to see it tomorrow. So today when you guys are watching this, so all 5 of you.
Anyways, I just want to make the comment again of the quarterback room of Andy Dalton, Nick Foles, and Mac Jones has to be the widest quarterback room in the NFL.
Mayo turkey sandwiches for everybody.
Yes.
On white bread.
That sounds good.
You're fucking nasty.
21, we had the Colts take Azeez Ojulari. Why did I just call you Steven? TJ has talked about Azeez being his number 1 edge. Kind of. He likes him the most. He thinks Phillips is better, correct?
Yes. Azeez is just a more fun watch.
Azeez is really fun to watch because he's extremely powerful. And, yeah, I mean, he fits right into that, what the Colts do with their defensive linemen. Like, pair him with Justin Houston, DeForest Buckner, and all these other just massive human beings that run through people. That'll be fun to watch. The Titans don't have a cornerback, so at 22, we gave them Greg Newsome II. So, that's at least one guy that'll be out on the perimeter for wide receivers running down.
Now they have at least one corner.
At least one. That's good. Jets at 23, we gave them Kwity Paye. TJ made a nice comparison that Robert Saleh might do with him, what he did with Eric Armstead. If that happens, look out.
Dude.
That would be scary.
Because
24.
Aziz is even a better, like, I don't know if you saw my quote tweet. You're gonna have to look at from a couple days ago, I think, and it was Quiddy was literally doing like a DB linebacker like pass drop, like dropping into pass coverage, like flipping his hips, opening them, doing like lateral shuttles and shit like that. I mean, the dude can move like he used to be a running back, and then Michigan converted him to defensive tackle or defensive end, I guess. His hips and feet and knees, like his lower body is absolutely insane. No other edge in this class, maybe even player, has as good of a lower body as Kwity Paye does. Like, it's just insane what he's able to do and how he's able to move at like 6'3", 270. It's nuts. Like, the dude's a freak. He's an animal.
He is a freak. And this fills only one of the many needs that the Jets need, but I like Robert Saleh being the man in charge of that rebuild because I would run through a brick wall for him, and I've never even played the sport of football. So, moving on to 24, we gave the Steelers Samuel Cosmi. They have a hole at tackle now, so it makes sense to give your old-ass quarterback that can't move around very well a big dude that blocks for him at left tackle. So, Steelers, Samuel Cosmi. 25, I like this pick as well. Kadarius Toney staying in Florida to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know if he would get all that much PT right off the bat just because of the emergence of Shenault last year.
Mm-hmm.
And Shenault could play slot. Could. Tony, they would obviously give Toney some looks at slot, try and draw up some designs for him. But it gives Trevor Lawrence more depth at the wide receiver position and, maybe in the future, a big downfield threat that could be really, really good. So
him and DJ Chark can take the top off of a defense. And even if you don't throw it to him, if they pose that threat, then Chenault's open over the middle. I don't know who their tight end is, but it was Eifert last year. I don't think he's back with them, but that's something that they can also address too.
I think he is.
Yeah, but that opens up things over the middle, opens up the run game very well for James Robinson. And, if you've got guys that can go deep, Trevor can fucking hit that deep ball. So,
Yes, I can.
And, yep, he can hit it, even though I don't think Trevor's ever hit a baseball actually in real life before.
Me?
I'm just playing.
Me?
Me?
I've never struck out in my life.
No.
That's a damn lie. At 26, we went with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah to play linebacker for the Browns and pair with Mac Wilson. This is a very athletic middle linebacker combo.
They can cover like fucking nobody's business too.
I was about to say this should be very fun to watch in pass coverage. Those two. Yeah, whatever. 27 for the Ravens. We gave them safety number 1, Trayvon Moehrig, out of TCU. I mean, I don't think there's a small gap between Moehrig and I guess Holland is my safety too. Mm-hmm. I think there's a pretty significant gap between these two, even though there's only 5 picks separating them in our mock. I think Moehrig is a lot better than people even think he is because everyone's been saying, like, if you're in the middle teens and you need a safety, like, don't take Moehrig. That's too early. It's not worth it. You might be able to get him in the second round. There's no way this guy's there, J2, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to be there.
I think he could be there. I think he's gone by – if he doesn't make it, if he makes it out of round 1 and is there on day 2, he doesn't make it past the first 7 picks of day 2. Like, he will be just pretty much a first-round extension pick for whatever team, and that could literally be Jacksonville at the top of round 1 or at the top of round 2 with the first pick of the second round. Like, they need safety so damn bad. They need safety so damn bad. We didn't give him safety in this mock, but it could definitely happen.
If Jacksonville's going to take a safety, they would do it at 25, I feel like. Because I feel like they have a better chance at getting Toney at 33 than Moehrig at 33 with just the teams down in the bottom of the first round.
Yeah, I can see that.
But, who knows? Teams don't always do the smart thing.
Mm-hmm. Rarely ever do they do the smart thing.
Unless we're the GMs. So at 28, we got Farley going to the Saints to play cornerback because this is, once again, another team that just doesn't have corners right now.
They don't have players.
The season started today, the opposing team's wide receivers would just be running uncovered down the field.
Mm-hmm.
So Farley has some injury concerns with his medicals. So, I mean, this is why he has slid. When we first started doing these mocks, like, he was mocked 10 to 12. Like, he was right up there at the top of the first round because talent-wise, he is. It's just there's some question marks about him. At 29 for the Packers, we gave them Jamin Davis out of Kentucky. This was kind of a little bit of a difficult decision for us, but once we settled on the name, once we figured out, all right, we're not taking these two, yeah, Jamin Davis is the one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I haven't watched a ridiculous amount of Davis, but, I mean, he's a really, really smart player.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always going to help transitioning from the college game to the NFL game.
Yes.
It makes the transition slower, or I mean quicker, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
The game slows down.
Yeah, the game slows down for him. So, yeah, we'll just be the classic draft talk. The game is slowed down for Jamin Davis.
You know, here's a guy who just
that sounds like Collinsworth right there. At number 30, we got Joseph Asai out of Texas to rush the passer for the Buffalo Bills. Rushing the passer was a big downside of this Bills team last year. They did not get consistent pressure at really any point in the season, and it's the biggest hole on their defense. Like, linebacker position's pretty good. Safeties is definitely good. Corners is solid. I think they might need one corner.
They've got Trey White, Johnson in the slot. I like Levi Wallace, but they didn't play him that much. I think he's a good boundary guy. But I think they've got three solid corners.
They had to play Norman last year.
Yeah, just fucking, Sorry to you, Buffalo, for having to play Josh Norman, having to put him out on a football field in 2020.
Yeah, that old motherfucker. Number 31, the old Chiefs pick, now the Ravens pick. We gave them Peyton Turner. You can talk about Peyton Turner because I already admitted I don't know this guy.
Yeah, you're gonna have to watch him. His film is really good. He's gonna be probably, I don't want to, I struggle with like making solid predictions, I guess, especially when it comes to draft shit because you never really know what anybody's gonna do. Like the Steelers taking Tremaine Edmonds in the first round a couple years ago, like in the same draft, Rashad Penny getting taken in the first round. The Seahawks did it with LJ Collier the next year. Like, shit just happens where guys get taken in the first round. You're like, oh, I didn't know that guy was first round caliber. But, I think Peyton Turner is a good edge. I think he's good enough to get taken in the first round as like a team that thinks he may not be there at the top of the second. So, if they value edge and they aren't high on Owe and they aren't high on Rousseau, I'm higher on Turner than I am on both of those guys. So I like him better. Took him over both of them.
Beautiful. And to round out the first round in mock draft 4.0, we took Javon Holland out of Oregon to play safety for the Buccaneers because second safety spot outside of Antoine Whitfield was not that good last year. So that's really that's the biggest hole on that team, I would say. So it's not really that big of a hole, but that's the type of things you do with pick 32 is you just try and make yourself, you get somebody that's going to play next year, especially for a Bucs team that is bringing everybody back.
Somehow.
Yeah, who knows?
They brought Cameron Brate back, too. They brought Brate back, dude. I don't know how they have this
Gronk
fucking
coming
money.
Back?
Yeah, Gronk's already back.
And O.J. Howard?
Yeah.
Why the fuck do they need all this?
I don't know, man. That's what I'm saying. They're just like, oh, we can do it? We're just going to do it. We're going to bring everybody.
Yeah, just tell them to sign for dirt cheap. That's what they kept telling everybody.
Yeah,
except for their linebackers.
Yeah, pay them.
Oh, well, I think that about wraps it up for Mock Draft 4.0 and Not Just Football Guys episode 35.
Like Tolbert episode.
The Christian Okoye episode.
Sure.
And not the Kevin Durant episode.
Fuck Kevin Durant.
Fuck Kevin Durant. But as always, follow us on Twitter at FootballGuysBRW. Follow me on Twitter at TrevHon3 and follow TJ on Twitter at IamTJS_. Thank you guys for listening, and let's enjoy a few beverages and watch the draft tomorrow night.
Hell yeah, baby.
All right. All right. Well, See you guys later.
See ya.